Hello everyone. Now I'm going to tie one of these nymphs that's made with coccylian tail. So I'll list my materials right now. Coccylian tail, heron body, then we have silver wire for ribbing, squirrel dubbing that I made a couple of videos ago. I made a video about how to make this one. This is for thorax, this is for wing case cover. When it comes to hook, it's Gamakatsu R19 1FT. Make sure that you use 1 times fine wire, because 3 times fine wire is super springy. It seems soft to me, and I don't like it, to be honest. And it's rather expensive, considering that you're paying like €4 for 14 hooks. So I'll of course start with placing the hook in the vise, and the reason why I'm using the dry fly hook for a nymph is that I want to fish this nymph for the fish I can see, so it's sight nymphing, and it's shallow, so I cannot use anything heavy. I need to make sure that my nymph is sinking slowly, and the lighter fly, the more natural it will behave. So I'll start by placing my thread just about a head away from the hook eye, and I will stop winding the thread more or less where I want my thorax to end and abdomen to begin. At this point I will add coccylian for tail, and the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I want to create bulk right about here. Instead of just going back and forth many times with thread, I'll just do it by placing my materials and catching them here. So I'm saving a little bit of time and effort. I'm using these speckles as a reference point to make sure that my tails are always the same, and that the length is more or less body shank, so from the eye of the hook until the hook bend. Now I will cut the excess, and at this point I will also attach silver wire. Cut it, so just a short piece of it. I'm attaching it at the same point, so this part is going to be the thickest. The best thing is to place your materials between 2 thread layers, because that's the safest way possible to hold all those materials. Since the wire is going to be covered with thread all the way along the hook shank, there is no way that it will be pulled out. It's going to break before it can be pulled out, so I don't need to do that all the way towards the hook. When you want to attach something that's slippery, then it's better to do it between 2 thread layers, because the friction is higher. Now I'm going to take and snip away 2, sometimes 3 heron hurls, and the smart thing to do is to just pull this away like so, and where it breaks, it's the weak point. You don't want weak point to have it on your fly. Then with pinch and loop I'll attach it here. Now I forgot to mention, I just left 1 thread wrap behind this thread layer. I left it here, so there was bare hook, and I pinched my heron there. And now I'm continuing by thread wraps, tight ones, and I'm just covering the body, and right about where I stopped my thorax, where I caught all the materials, I'll just stop there. I'll go back once, tight turns as you can see, and then I'll just go back. So that's how I create taper here. Now I'll go there. These are excessive wraps, you don't need them, but you will need them for the thing that follows. The tricky part is to catch the heron at the same time with the heckle pliers like mine, but if you manage to do that, then it's good. I want to twist the heron so that those 2 fibers are going around each other, and then I'm gonna just spin everything together, and when the spun part is over, when the spun part is stopped, I just spin it a little bit more. It's very sensitive material, so you don't want to spin it at the beginning. And if you don't spin it, the part that's coming, this part here, is behaving like biot, and it's going to make those spacings, flat spacings that you don't want, like gaps. And also notice that I wrapped the thread around thorax part. Now it's gone because of rotating the vise. So it's unwinding actually, and we meet right about the place where I want my thorax to begin. 2 reps, 1 rep to lock it. Got the excess. Now be careful. Place your tail where you want it now. So this is loose wire wrap. Now when you hold the tail properly, then tighten the wire and continue. After the first wrap, you can actually leave the tail alone. It's fine, it's going to be there until it's broken. And then just make sure that you wrap everything here, even spacings and so on. Okay. Now I'll just cover this and I'll break off wire. Now I want to place my wing case material, and my wing case material is actually Peacock UV ice dub. Okay, I'll just try to make it as even as possible like this, and if you have too much, as I do now, you can just take away a little bit of it until, because you're going to fold it over like so, like you are doing some EP fiber streamers. So make sure that you move away all short fibers. Now place one of these next to you, like so. 1, 2, 3. It's, as you can see, on my side. Then just fold back the other one and go backwards until you cover the thorax more or less. Then I just want to cover this part here to make nicer transition here. I don't want my dubbing to slip here. And then just go back. Now as you can see, everything is set. When you dub, if you dub tight noodle, you'll get tighter thorax. If you dub loose noodle, you'll get spikier thorax. It's up to you what you're gonna do, but if you make it too spiky, and if you know how to place the nymph, it can actually float for some time, not a lot, trust me, but like for a couple of seconds it can float because of the surface tension that those legs, if it's too spiky, can create. So right now I just want to see if everything is set right. I don't want any thread to be seen. Now I can see that my proportions are right, and I can proceed towards the hook eye, and I'll stop with dubbing right about the place where I started my thread, like here. Now it's very important that you don't have any stray fibers facing forward, because you will have cleaner head if you don't have these. Take dubbing, place it forward, and not one rep, 2 reps. Now it's time to check everything, if you like it or not. The cover looks nice. Tighten it, lock it. There is always going to be, at least in my case, 1 or 2 fibers sticking out to the front of the fly, but it's okay. So I want to cut it as close as possible. Now I'm going to cut this one here, and now instead of forming the head with your thread and just winding it with your bobbin, use your whip finishing tool to catch the rest of these materials and to form the head. If you form a head with your thread and then do a whip finish knot one or two, you'll actually make too bulky head. And with this way, you'll just make a wonderful, nice little head. I don't know, for those of you who watch my videos regularly, maybe you notice that I tighten my knot like this, away from me. It's how I think it sets better than by just pulling it downwards. So I think it sets better. Now, any stray fibers that are sticking out on the top of the fly, I'll try to remove, because when I put my UV there, it's going to be it's like create those bumps that I don't like, to be honest. So I'll just remove everything I can, and I'll set my UV right about here. Now for this purpose I'm using a brush that I cannot see right now. Looks like this. Someone told me it can be dental brush, I think. Now by using the brush, try to go in the dubbing with UV, because it will stay longer and more firmly on the top of your fly. When you apply UV on some smooth surface, you can just peel it off. By adding UV and letting it soak into the material, it will actually grab around the material and it will stay there longer, if not forever. Now the next layer will actually give it that smooth, nice, neat look, and this is what I was talking about. I don't want this here, so I'll just add one more tiny, let's call it a drop, and you can see that like immediately you will get that nice egg shape here. I mean half egg, not the full one, but who cares. So I'll just try to cover all the dubbing here, and if I'm satisfied, I'll just burn it with torch. There is one last step. There is one last step I want to do before I finish up the fly, and that's I want to cover the whole head with UV, which can be tricky sometimes because it's a very small head and my needle is super dull, as you can see. So I'll just remove the excess UV from my brush, like so, and I'll just go work around my way around the hook here. You don't need much, just let it touch the thread and it will go right there. I mean, it's gonna create that shiny, nice looking head. I like the look of this head, but it's pain to do it on every fly. The benefits are only, I think, aesthetic, so I don't do it often. In this case, I think it's same, not important, but it looks nice, and for the purpose of this video I'll just make it like this, and to be honest I won't do it for myself, I guess. And before I finish the video, I'll just make it look more buggy. I mean, it looks buggy, but I like just to divide legs. Soups, marabou. Okay, I like to divide legs sideways, like this. Let it go. Just few legs. Suggest those legs. And you got the nymph, heron nymph. Remove everything that you think it's not necessary, but as you can see, this is UV inside this dubbing, so it will attract fish a little bit more, I guess. I mean, that's my experience. So guys, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing too, because it means a lot, and see you next week.